Hello students, I am Sanjay Kamble, Assistant Professor in Department of Accountancy. In our previous lecture, we are start a practical problem on preparation of cost sheet. Here in our today's lecture, we are solve the problem number 5 on preparation of cost sheet. Here, problem number 5. Amar, Babu and Chandu carry on business as engineers in partnership from the following. Prepare a cost sheet showing various divisions of cost. Okay. Next, particulars rupees. Purchase of raw material rupees 49,500. Workers wages direct rupees 32,000. Indirect rupees 4,000. Office salaries rupees 9,390. Carriage inward 300. Carriage outward 2,800. Sales 1,60,000. Stock of material on 1st April 2019 rupees 17,500. Stock of finished goods on 1st April 2019 was rupees 4,500. Travelling expenses rupees 1,200. Advertisement rupees 3,000. Power rupees 1,050. Income tax 9,500. Travelling agent commission rupees 4,500. Maintenance of plant rupees 3,600. Rate light insurance and heat factory rupees 900. Office rupees 100. Discount rupees 300. Bad debts rupees 500. Sundry expenses factory 1,400. Office 2,600. Building repairs 100. Partner's salary 2,200. Interest on capital 3,000. Depreciation on plant and machinery rupees 1,900. Sorry. Depreciation on building 800. Adjustment. The value of stock of raw material on 31st March 2020 is rupees 19,000 and of finished goods rupees 3,000. Here we read the problem. Now we transfer the each and every item to particular expenses head. Okay. So Amar, Babu and Chandu, three partners are there, carry a engineer business in partnership, and the information given in the problem, and according to this information we have to prepare a cost sheet. So first of all we transfer the all items. So here purchase of raw material or purchase of material is transferred to where we transfer it. So purchase of material is useful to find out material consumed. Here workers wages, direct expenses are add in material consumed, we get a prime cost. So direct wages is useful to find out the prime cost. So add in material consumed. Okay. Indirect wages is transferred to factory overheads or under the head of factory overheads, factory expense. Okay. So indirect wages is transferred to factory. Office salaries transferred to office. So office salary is expenses transferred under the head of office and administrative expense. Okay. Carriage inward means the expenses incurred for purchase of raw material. So it is add in purchase of RM, raw material, into bracket, useful to find out the material consumed. Carriage outward is transferred to selling and overhead expenses, selling and distribution expenses. Okay. Sales are useful to find out the net profit. Okay. Opening stock of material means raw material. It is useful or beneficial to find out the material consumed. Opening stock of finished goods. Add in cost of production, CP. Okay. We get a cost cost of goods sold, or we get a amount of goods sold. So here the opening stock of finished goods is add in cost of production. We get the amount of cost of goods sold. Okay. Traveling expenses transferred to selling and distribution expense. Okay, it is a selling and distribution expenses, so it is transferred under the head of selling and distribution overheads. Advertisement, it is also expenses relating to promotion, so it is related to selling and distribution expenses. Power is used in factory, so power is transferred to factory expense, so it is transferred to factory overheads. Income tax should not be taken into consideration, so we highlight it by green. Okay, so it should not be taken into consideration because it is a pure finance transaction, and pure finance transaction should not be taken into consideration while preparing the cost sheet. Next, traveling agent commission, it is also a expenses related to selling and distribution overheads. Maintenance of plant is used in factory, so maintenance of plant is transferred to factory expenses or factory overheads. Here also bifurcation is given, so there is no any doubt to transfer the expenses. So rates, light, insurance and heat, factory transfer to factory, office transfer to office. Discount is pure finance transaction, so it is not taken into consideration while preparing the cost sheet. Next, bad debts. Bad debts is expenses related to selling and distribution overheads, so transferred under the head of selling and distribution overheads. Sundry expenses. Here bifurcation is also given. Sundry expenses factory transfer to factory overheads. Sundry expenses office transfer to office. Building repairs. Building is used in office or used for office. So repairs of building is transferred to office. Office expenses. Partner's salary should not be taken into consideration. We understand the items excluded from cost sheet. So partner salary, director fees should not be taken into consideration, as well as interest on capital is also excluded from cost sheet because it is pure financial transaction. So it should not be taken into consideration while preparing the cost sheet. Depreciation on plant transferred to factory. So here the plant is used in factory, so depreciation on plant is transferred to factory overheads or factory expenses. Depreciation on building. So building is considered as office building, so it is transferred to office expenses. Okay, we transfer all the items to a particular heads. Now we are transfer the adjustment. Here closing stock of raw material. Closing stock of raw material is transferred to or is useful to find out the material consumed. So we write it over the amount where we transfer it or where we use it. It is less from material available for use, so we write it over the amount, that is it is useful or beneficial to find out the material consumed, and we take make a arrow to better understanding. Okay, it is useful to find out the material consumed, and cost of or stock of finished goods is useful to find out the cost of goods sold. So we less this finished stock from CP. CP means cost of production. Here cost of production. Okay, bracket. CP means cost of production. So closing stock of finished goods is less from cost of production. So here we make a arrow to our better understanding. Okay, so now we transfer all the items to a particular heads. Now we prepare the cost sheet. So here in the books of in the books of the name of company is engineers. Here we use the short form of all the names, that is AB A, B and C engineers. Okay, cost sheet, cost sheet. Here the for the year ended, because we calculate or we prepare the cost sheet for last 1 year. So for the year ending 31st March 2019. Okay, here we insert the tables, three tables: particulars, rupees, rupees. Rupees and rupees. Here first transfer the opening stock of raw material. So find out the opening stock of raw material. Here opening stock of raw material is given, so we make it highlight by yellow color. Opening stock of raw material 17,500, 17,500. So here opening stock of RM. RM means raw material on first April 2018. Okay, amount column 17,500. Next, in opening stock of raw material we add purchases of RM, raw material. So purchases of raw material is also given in the problem. So find out the purchases of raw material in the problem and transfer or add it in opening stock of raw material. Here in first the purchase of raw material is given, so we transfer it to or add it to add in opening stock of raw material, that is 49,500. Okay, now we add a we add some expenses incurred on purchase of raw material. Here carriage inward is given in the problem, so we add carriage inward. So find out the carriage inward in the problem and add it in purchases. So here carriage inward is given, so we transfer it or we add it in purchases of raw material, that is the amount is not taken into outside, it is taken into inner column. Rupees 300. Okay, so then we make a total of both these. So total is 49,800, 48,900, add in 48,000, sorry, 48,000, 49,800. Okay, 49,800 in underline. So total is, add 17,500. So total is 67,300. 67,300 is called material available for use. Material available for use. Then we deduct the closing stock of RM. So closing stock of RM is given in the adjustment, that is 19,000 19,000. So we directly less this 19,000 from 67,300. So minus 19,000, the amount is 48,300. 48,300, and it is known as material consumed. Okay, so material consumed amounted to rupees 48,300. Okay, so we highlight it like this by red. Material consumed. Okay, now we add the direct wages. Okay, direct wages is also given in the problem, so transfer it where, so direct here, direct workers or direct wages. Okay, so we highlight it, 32,000 direct wages, 32,000. Here no any other direct expenses is given, so we make a total of these. We get the prime cost, that is 48,300 plus 32,000. We get the 80,300 as prime cost. 80,300 is prime cost. Okay, here we find out the prime cost, that is 80,300. We highlight it by red mark or red color. So here we easily understand which item we are find out. Then we add factory overheads, means those expenses which are incurred in factory. So all factory expenses is transferred under the head of factory overhead. So start from first. So purchase of raw material is transferred, wages direct is transferred, but indirect wages is related to factory overhead, so it is transferred to factory, that is 4,000. So indirect wages is transferred to indirect wages, rupees 4,000. Okay, here we transfer the indirect wages to factory overheads. Office salary transferred to office, carriage out or selling, sales, stock, traveling. But power is used in factory, so it is transferred to factory. So amount of power is power that is 1050. Okay, 1050 rupees. Okay, next we add here power is transferred. Maintenance of plant factory expenses transferred to factory amounted to rupees 3,600. Maintenance of plant maintenance of plant 3,600. Then rate light insurance factory transfer to factory 900. Transfer to factory. Okay, so we transfer the light rate insurance of factory amounted to rupees 900. Then discount is sundry expenses factory. Okay, sundry expenses factory transfer to factory rupees 1,400. Here sundry 1,400. 1,400. Next, building repairs office expense, depreciation on plant factory expenses rupees 1,900 is transferred to factory. Okay, 1,900. 1900. 1900. Then no other expenses which is related to factory, so make a total of these expenses and add it in prime cost. We get the amount of works on cost or factory cost. So here 4000 plus 1050 plus 3600 plus 900 plus 1400 plus 1900 amounted to rupees 12,850. 12,850. So add this 12,850 in 80,300. We get the amount of works on cost, that is 93,150, and it is known as work cost or factory cost. It is known as work cost or factory cost or works on cost, amounted to rupees 93,150. Now we add office and administrative overheads here. So find out the office and administrative overheads. Office salaries is office expenses 9,390. So we transfer the office salaries. $9,390. Okay. Then another expenses which is related to office, find out. So one by one. Carriage, outward selling, sales, stock, it is add in cost of production, traveling, indirect expenses, factory, traveling agent, bad debt, sundry expenses, office. Okay, so sundry expenses 2,600 office. Sundry expenses 2,600 okay. Then sundry expenses, rate, light, insurance, heat, office. It is not transfer, but some expenses of lighting and heating is light rate like insurance is incurred in office, so transfer office expenses to office, that is amounted to rupees 100. Okay, 100. Then so we transfer it, we make it highlight, it is also transfer, so we highlight it. Building, repairs to building transfer to office, repairs to building, paste, amounted to rupees, repairs to building amounted to rupees 100. Okay, repairs to building 100, and depreciation on office building 800, so office building transfer to office expenses, amounted rupees 800. So we transfer all office expenses to office. Okay, so make the total of office and administrative overheads, and this total is add in work cost or factory cost. So 9390 plus 2600 plus 100 plus 100 plus 800, 12,990. So 12,990 is add in 12,990 is add in factory overheads or factory cost. We get the amount of cost of production here plus 93,150 plus 12,950. The amount is 1,06,140. 1,06,140. It is known as cost of production. Okay, so we find out the cost of production, then we add it the opening stock of finished goods amounted to rupees 4,500. Okay, 4,500. So transfer this opening stock of finished goods or add it in cost of production 4,500. So total is 4,500, 1,10,600, 1,10,640. Okay, then we less less then we less closing stock of finished goods amounted to rupees. Closing stock of finished goods is given in adjustment 3000. Here 3000. So the amount is 1,07,640. It is known as cost of goods sold. Okay, we find out the cost of goods sold. In cost of goods sold we add the selling and distribution overheads. Okay, so add the selling and distribution overheads or expenses under this head. So first find out. So carriage outward is related to selling, so we transfer it rupees 2800 under the head of selling and distribution overheads. 2800 2800. Then traveling expenses related to selling and distribution overheads, so it is also transferred under the head of selling and distribution overheads rupees 1200. So here 1200. Then 1200. Then advertisement is also selling and distribution expenses, so 3000 is also transferred to selling and distribution overheads. Here paste rupees 3000. Next traveling agent commission rupees 4500, expenses related to selling and distribution, so transferred under the head of selling and distribution overheads, amounted to rupees 3000. Sorry, 4500. Next bad debts 300. So bad debts is transferred under the head of selling and distribution overheads. Bad debts amounted to rupees 500. So we transfer these bad debts under the head of selling and distribution overheads. Next, bad debts is transferred, so we highlight it as mark of transfer the item. So we transfer all the items to a particular heads, only sales are remaining. So sales is useful or beneficial to find out the net profit. So here we make the total of selling and distribution overheads in outer column, or we add the selling and distribution overheads in cost of goods sold. We get the total cost or total cost of goods sold. So here 2,800 plus 1,200 plus 3,000 plus 4,500 plus 500. Okay, so total is 12,000. 12,000 is add in 1,07,000. 1,07,640. We get the 1,19,640. Sorry, 640, and it is known as, or we find out the total cost of sale, or total cost or total cost of sales. So we highlight it by red mark to know the amount of cost sale, total cost or total cost of sale is find out. So we add the net profit or net loss, net profit, then sales. How we find out the net profit? Here net profit is find out by, into bracket, sales minus total cost or total cost of sales. Okay, so here sales is rupees, sales is given in the problem, amounted to rupees here. Okay, so sales is rupees 1,60,000, 1,60,000. So 1,60,000 minus, here into bracket, or we write it here, 1,60,000 minus 1,19,640. We get the amount of net profit, because sales is more than the total cost, so we get a net profit. If the total cost is more than the sales, we get a net loss. Okay, got it? So find out the profit. So profit is equal to, net profit is equal to 1,60,000 minus 1,19,640, that is 40,300, 40,360 is our net profit. So here net profit is 40,600. Okay, so this is the problem. We again revise it with the help of this chart, but here some. So here see the problem. Okay, here is problem and here is answer. These two pages are solution of this problem. So here we use the percentage of zooming. Here problem is Chandu Babu. Okay, this is problem and this is the solution of this problem. Okay, so here purchase of raw material, all these items are transfer. Those items should not be taken into consideration is highlighted by green color, and those items which is transferred to cost sheet is highlighted by yellow color. In red color we write it the item is transferred to the particular heads. Okay, so purchase of raw material is transferred or useful for material consumed. Workers wages means wages direct. Add in material consumed, we get the amount of prime cost. Indirect transfer to factory. Office salary transfer to office. Carriage inward. Add in purchase of raw material or material consumed. Carriage inward means the expenses incurred for purchase of material. So it is add in purchase of raw material. Carriage outward. Carriage outward is expenses related to selling and distribution expenses. So transfer to selling and distribution overheads. Sales is useful or beneficial to find out the net profit or loss of the organization. So it is considered at the end of the solution to find out the net profit. Stock of material, it means stock of raw material, beneficial to find out the material consumed. Stock of finished goods, uh, it is a opening stock of finished goods. Opening stock of finished goods is add in cost of production. Here CP means cost of production, uh, for finding out the cost of goods sold. Traveling expenses, selling and distribution overheads. Advertisement, selling and distribution overheads. Power is factory expenses. Income tax should not be taken into consideration. Pure finance transaction. Traveling agent commission, selling and distribution expenses. Plant maintenance, factory expenses. Here expenses is also bifurcated. Factory, office, discount, pure finance. Here if in problem discount on raw material, so it is less from purchase of raw material. Okay, discount is received on raw material, then it is less from purchase of raw material. If it is not given, so it considered as a financial transaction, so it should not be taken into consideration. It is excluded from cost sheet. Bad debts is expenses related to selling and distribution overheads. Sundry expenses bifurcation is also given. Building repairs, office expenses, partner salary should not be taken into consideration. Interest on capital not taken into consideration. Depreciation on plant and machinery transfer to factory. Depreciation on building, office expenses and adjustment is given. Closing stock of raw material and closing stock of finished goods. Closing stock of finished goods is less from cost of production, and closing stock of raw material is less from or deducted from material available for use. Okay, so here the answer. So in our next lecture we solve the next problem.